Maya's hands trembled as she clutched the hospital discharge papers, the weight of her sister's medical bills crushing her chest like a stone. Pneumonia, the doctor had said matter-of-factly, as if those 9 letters hadn't just shattered their already fragile world. Rosa lay pale against the white sheet, her breathing still labored, eyes filled with worry that had nothing to do with her illness. "I can't miss another shift, Maya," Rosa whispered, her voice barely audible. "Mrs. Henderson already warned me about attendance. If I lose this job..." She didn't need to finish. They both knew what losing Rosa's cleaning position at the prestigious Meridian Tower meant. No insurance, no apartment, no way to pay for the medications that kept Rosa breathing. Maya squeezed her sister's hand, feeling the calluses earned from years of scrubbing other people's floors. "Don't worry about anything. I'll handle it." That's how Maya found herself at 5 a.m. the next morning, standing before the gleaming glass facade of Meridian Tower, wearing Rosa's ill-fitting uniform and clutching a hastily scrawled list of instructions. She'd lied effortlessly to the supervisor, claiming to be Rosa's cousin filling in for the day. After all, what difference could one day make? The 32nd floor housed the executive offices, a world of marble and mahogany that Maya had only glimpsed in movies. As she pushed her cart through the hushed corridors, she marveled at the oil paintings and the view of the city sprawling below like a circuit board of dreams and ambitions. She was dusting the reception area when she heard a small, broken sob echoing from the corner office. The nameplate read James Wellington, CEO, but the sound coming from within was irkingly human. Maya hesitated, her hand frozen on the doorknob. Rosa's instructions had been clear: clean quietly, quickly, and invisibly. But the crying continued, and Maya recognized something in those muffled sounds that resonated deep in her soul. It was the same way she'd cried 3 years ago when their parents died, the same desperate grief that had consumed her when Rosa first got sick. She knocked softly. "Sir, I'm sorry to disturb you, but are you all right?" The crying stopped abruptly. After a long pause, a gruff voice called out, "Coming." James Wellington looked nothing like the confident executive she'd expected. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled, and his eyes were red-rimmed with exhaustion. But what caught Maya's attention was the small desk in the corner, clearly meant for a child, with crayons scattered across its surface and a drawing of a stick figure family taped to the wall. "I'm sorry," Maya said, starting to back away. "I can come back later." "No, it's fine." He rubbed his face, trying to compose himself. "I'm James." "And you're not Rosa." Maya's heart skipped. Had she blown Rosa's job already? "I'm Maya, her sister." She's sick, and I didn't want her to lose her position. "So yeah, you covered for her." Something in his expression softened. "That's what family does." An awkward silence stretched between them until Maya noticed the child drawing more clearly. The stick figures were labeled Daddy, Emma, and Mommy, but the Mommy figure had a large X drawn through it in red crayon. "Your daughter drew this?" Maya asked gently. James's composure cracked again. "Emma, she's 6. Yesterday was the anniversary of her mother's death, and she keeps asking when Mommy's coming home from heaven." His voice broke. "I don't know how to help her understand. I don't know how to help either of us." Maya set down her cleaning supplies and sank into the chair across from his desk, every professional boundary dissolving. "I lost my parents when I was 22. Rosa was only 17. I remember feeling so angry that everyone expected me to have answers, to be strong, when I could barely remember to breathe." "How did you manage?" "Honestly, we didn't, not at first. We made a lot of mistakes. sucks. But we learned that grief isn't something you solve, it's something you carry together, and sometimes, the best thing you can do is just be present. For the next hour, they talked. Maya learned that James had been working 16-hour days, trying to lose himself in business deals while Emma stayed with a rotation of nannies who couldn't fill the void her mother had left. He learned that Maya had dropped out of nursing school to care for Rosa, that she worked 3 jobs to keep them afloat, and that her sister's illness was slowly drowning them both. "I have an idea," James said suddenly. "It might sound crazy, but Emma needs someone who understands loss, someone genuine. And you need a job that pays better than 3 combined. Would you consider being her nanny?" Maya stared at him. "Sir, I barely know you, and I'm not exactly qualified. You understood my grief in 5 minutes. Something trained professionals couldn't do in months of therapy. You sacrificed your mourning to cover for your sister. That tells me everything I need to know about your character." 2 weeks later, Maya was reading Where the Red Fern Grows to Emma, who was curled up in her lap like a small, wounded bird learning to trust again. They'd spent the morning baking cookies and talking about Emma's mommy, looking through photo albums and sharing stories that made them both cry and laugh in equal measure. James found them there when he came home early, something he'd started doing since Maya arrived. He watched from the doorway as his daughter, who hadn't smiled in months, giggled at Maya's silly voices for the characters. "Daddy." Emma noticed him and ran over. "Maya taught me that it's okay to miss mommy and be happy at the same time. She says hearts are big enough for both." That evening, after Emma was asleep, Maya found James in his study, but instead of working, he was looking at a photo of his wife. "Thank you," he said simply, "for seeing us, for staying." Maya sat beside him, no longer the nervous woman who'd stumbled into his office weeks ago. "You gave me something too, you know, purpose. A chance to use the nurturing I'd been saving up for nursing school." "About that," James said, turning to face her, "I've been thinking. There's no reason you couldn't go back to school. We could work around your schedule, and Emma would be so proud to have a nurse as her nanny." Maya's eyes filled with tears, not the desperate tears she'd cried in hospital corridors, but tears of possibility, of hope taking root in soil she'd thought was barren. 6 months later, Rosa was fully recovered and working as the head of housekeeping at Meridian Tower. Maya was halfway through her nursing program, and Emma had started calling her Maya Mom, and not to replace her mother's memory, but to expand her definition of family. The stick figure drawing on James's office wall now included a 4th figure, labeled Maya, drawn in bright purple crayon. Emma had explained that purple was the color of family you choose, not just the family you're born with. Sometimes the greatest love stories aren't about romance, they're about souls recognizing each other across the landscape of shared loss, about choosing to show up when showing up seems impossible, and about discovering that the people who need us most often appear in the moments when we're simply trying to help someone else. Maya had covered her sister's shift as a maid and ended up finding her calling, her purpose, and a family that needed her gentle strength as much as she needed their healing love. In a world that often felt impossibly broken, they had learned the profound truth that sometimes being human for each other is the most revolutionary act of all.